All right, welcome back, tennis and racket sport fans, to our podcast, where we're here with James and Sandra in the middle of the most exciting part of the tennis season, which is between the Grand Slams, the French Open, and Wimbledon. This is probably the best time in the world to be playing tennis. So, welcome back, guys. How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing fine.
Good. Playing any tennis?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. That's good. James, I know you got some exciting news.
Yes. We, my high school team, Monacan Chiefs, repeated as Region 4 state doubles champions.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so
That's great.
very happy with the efforts of Mr. Isaac Brown and Mr. Cole LaForce.
Cool.
And Isaac, wish him all the best. This is his senior year, so he's going to be at William & Mary in the fall.
Oh,
outstanding
man.
young man, outstanding student. So
Great
very happy
school,
for him and wish him all the best. And I'm going to have Cole for another 2 years.
That's great.
I'm not stealing from him. And, looking for incredible things from that young man.
That's good. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And hopefully the young man going to William & Mary has an exciting time. He's going to try to play tennis there.
I think he's number 2. Finished number 2 in our school.
Right.
Academically, he is super strong, and I think that's where his focus is going to be.
Okay.
He's going to look at the tennis, but I think he's probably going to opt for playing club tennis
Okay.
and
That's
at
okay.
the school. But he wants to become a doctor, so
There you go.
he's got his path all set. So I'm not mad at him. I like to see
Okay.
him try to play,
Right.
but that's up to him, and his priorities are somewhere else. So
That's good.
just wish him all the best.
And we wish him the best.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
Sandra, you got anything going on for the summer?
Just tennis.
Just tennis.
Going to the Open, and hopefully we'll go to the Wimbledon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to the city. Cool. Yeah, hopefully we can get to the City Open. So, again, for the organizers of the City Open, we're coming. So, look out for us. So, let's get to it. We just missed the last Grand Slam, the French Open. What y'all think?
I tell you what, I think the women were very exciting. I know there's some with different with me at this table,
Right?
but that women's match was very exciting, full of winners and errors, and I think the best player won that day.
Okay.
Coco.
So that brings us to it.
Yes.
Let's talk about the French champion. So which side do you want to talk about first, Andrew?
I want to talk about the
The
women,
women.
of
You
course.
had to ask.
I want to talk about the women.
So let's
There's a reason they go first in the championships.
That's right. Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first. Yeah. So I mean, it was just a great finals. I mean, both players had to deal with the wind and the bad conditions out there, and which led to a lot of errors.
Mm-hmm.
But both sides had the same thing. So
Absolutely.
anybody that wants to talk that that they had it worse, hey, the wind was blowing on both sides of the court.
You're right,
And
Andrew. What are
blowing
you talking
bad.
about, Sandra?
I'm talking about. I think you guys know. What I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about. Yeah, so.
Could have been the number one player.
It could have been the number one player in the world, but yeah, it was rough conditions for everybody. But you gotta just keep going, keep fighting,
Right.
and see what happens. And I certainly didn't know what was going to happen because it was
True.
so back and forth
Yeah.
during the match. But it was a great match and well deserving of Coco Gauff.
I agree. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Sandra. It was an incredible match. I'm a big Coco fan, so I'm excited. This young lady does, and just coming from a set down against the number one player in the world in a Grand Slam final, and you come back and win 2 straight sets.
Right.
That's an achievement in and of itself. So regardless to like you said, the weather conditions or whatever, hey, you know what? It's tennis.
Yeah.
And you're exposed to the elements, and both of you exposed to them, and whoever gets the last ball over gets they win, and she did it. I was just impressed with how she held her nerve in some tight situations, and being able to withstand the Sabalenka onslaught. She came out swinging.
Yeah, because she came out swinging. Yeah, right.
So, and she tried to win. Sabalenka, let's get it. Let's be real.
Right.
Sabalenka wanted to win that match, and she gave her everything she could. She just fell short.
Right. You know, and you're right for the fact that at the end of the match she kind of gave out sour grapes about how it was one of the worst matches she's played.
China.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to be political. But it's unfair to not be gracious in that situation.
Exactly.
When you may have some hard feelings about how you played, but at the end of the day, you made the unforced errors. Everybody's playing in the same conditions, so you got to own up to what you weren't able to accomplish and give props to your opponent who was. Because she got every ball back.
Yep.
And when she didn't, she hit those winners. So like you said, everybody plays under the same conditions: windy, cold, rainy, whatever. And Sabalenka has been known to be a poor sport, just like the former number one player in the world. But we're not going to talk about her. They dethroned her from France, so we got to give props to Coco.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I agree. The match was really good. Coco just definitely deserved it. Aside from that first set, which was tight, it really was not really in question. Once she won that second set 6-2 and the third set 6-4, it kind of was, the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
That Coco was going to win. So
well, it's it amazes me because they always attack Coco's backhand. Her backhand is probably the best.
You mean forehand?
No, they attack her back. They go to her backhand a lot. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you're going to attack, you should go to her forehand. That is clearly a weaker shot because she has the best backhand in the game tennis. But the young French girl, Boisson,
in the semi,
went primarily to her backhand. Well, Coco was eating that for breakfast, and then in critical points, I was surprised how many times Sabalenka went to the backhand on, trying to pull a wide mistake, inside mistake to a backhand, So she took advantage of it and did what she does.
Sandra, what do you think? Did you think anybody made a tactical error?
No, I think the weather definitely had a lot to do with the match, but as I said, both sides had the same wind to contend with, and Coco just did a better job of it in the end. But it was tight as far as how many points were won, obviously because of the scoreline. So it was just a tight match, and just happy that she came away with the win.
Yeah, we can always use another Grand Slam winner that's American.
Yes.
We don't get them that often, so we'll take them when we can.
Yeah.
So. Speaking of which, let's talk about the men now. James, let's let you start this.
All right. Well, what can I say? What can we say? That was another come from behind, down match points, Grand Slam final, but Carlito found a way to get himself back into that match, and my mouth was open. I just couldn't believe.
Right.
And just like you said earlier, Ruff, even though that match was long, but it was, 5 hours. Are you kidding?
5.5 hours.
Yeah,
You're right.
5.5 hours. But you were spellbound the whole time.
Absolutely.
It was shifts and turns, but then when you saw it starting to turn, and, Alcaraz has that thing.
He does.
He has that kind of that Rafa thing that those great players have. He's a showman, but also when he's down, just like Rafa, I've seen, I used to marvel at how Rafa could be down 2 sets to love down, but then he'll get that break point. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he's fired up, and I'm like, what are you fired up for? You're still down break. No, but to him, it's like, I've got that opening now. Well, Alcaraz is the same way. He has that same thing about him that, even if he's down, he's never out.
Yeah.
And once he gets an opening, that's all he needs. And he gets fired up and he gets the crowd into it. Master showman out there. He gets the crowd into it, and your opponent now is like, okay. And you could see, and the thing is, Sinner was dropping bombs on this guy. He was trying to win. But Alcaraz had an answer for everything he put up there. And once he got his open, it was a dogfight to the end. But Alcaraz just kept the edge. It's amazing talent.
Yeah.
I agree with that. He is just so mentally tough. But it sounds silly to say that I was for the underdog and the underdog was the number one player. But I was for center.
Yeah.
And I became a bigger fan after listening to his post-match interview, because he said that his family was very simple and that his father actually wasn't even at the match, that his father was working that day, wherever he's from. And I loved what he said. He said, you can't keep crying about the past. And he said, losing, it hurts. And that just made me I'm going to be sitting in center's box when I go to
That's right. Yeah.
Watch out, center, I'm coming. But I am all in for him, and I would love to see him, I can't say win at the U.S. Open because I want an American to win. But if he happens to be the one that's there in the finals and not opposed by an American, then he's my man for the U.S. Open.
I got a feeling he will be there.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be in the mix.
He's another level.
I just like him. His personality, you can tell that he's a good person.
Right.
And he was so calm after losing, not like the women's interviews. But he was just so calm and so respectful, and showed very good sportsmanship in the heat of the moment. So that just made me like him more.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of redeeming quality the center has. He's even keeled. He reminds me a lot of Novak. Where he get in his game itself, it kind of shows that he is in that I'm not going to miss mode, or you're not going to break me mode, where you just can't get to him. And even Alcaraz early on in the first two sets, after he broke in the first set, he seemed flustered. He seemed not to be clear of thought when it came to his game. And that's because center is that kind of person. He's kind of hard to root for. I like to call him Opie from Andy Griffin, because that's what he looked with the red hair. I hate to say that, but that's what he kind of reminds. But still, he's the kind of player that you kind of root for. But then you have on the other side of the net, Carlito. Carlos is that dude. Mm-hmm. He is him, as they would say in the vernacular today. At the end of the day, Carlos knows that if I need it, I got it. Yeah. That forehand was on, especially in those crunch moments.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if center knew. If you watched the match and you saw the way that Alcaraz pulled center out wide, and even though that's how he beat him in the previous finals, I think it was at Madrid, or because it was. I'm sorry, not in Madrid. It was the Italian Open, because that's where they played.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He played him to the forehand, so he worked on it. He and his coach, Darren Cahill, worked on that. And even though he prepared for that, Carlito knew whenever he wanted that point, he was either going to go out wide or down the line, or either one, and he could produce it whenever he wanted. Yeah. And that seemed to be the difference, especially as he gets happier. When he's happy, he's all over. But when he's kind of moody, when he's kind of unsure of himself because he's not hitting the shots, that's when you don't get the best of Alcaraz. So, but it was an exciting match, 5.5 hours. I had to turn the TV off a couple times to come back. So it was one of those kind of matches. So, an instant classic for me.
It's a classic, without a doubt.
But that's what I enjoyed about the French. I just wish we had something more to talk about when it came to. I would have loved to have seen the doubles. In fact, Sandra, didn't you have something about the doubles?
Oh my gosh, the doubles was great. And just what you said, 5.5 hours, you had to turn the TV off,
right,
or move from the TV and come back. That's a long time to be sitting there watching one episode of anything.
Right.
And that is my point, with doubles. I was so happy to see doubles on the Tennis Channel. Right. This is the first Grand Slam that I know of where doubles was featured. From the time it started until the end, because I actually didn't even know it. A friend told me that it was on, and then when I started watching, it was like back to back to back matches, So I ended up watching more of that. I would switch every now and then and watch a little singles, but I went right back to the doubles because doubles is exciting, and I don't understand why there's not more doubles on television. But I hope the Tennis Channel continues and airs that also at the U.S. Open. so that we can see more doubles matches.
Well, if I could chime in on that, depending on what your package was for streaming services, if you had Max,
Yes.
you could watch every and True TV and
great coverage
with TBS as well.
Yeah.
You could watch every single match, and I'd love to see that to include the doubles.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to watch more and more doubles be showcased. Because I'm not going to sidestep this, but pickleball has its own channel from the tennis channel, and they showcase a lot of doubles action. I wish we would do that, or the tennis channel and major channels would do more doubles like you were suggesting.
Does pickleball play singles?
They do.
Okay.
They do. They play the challenge.
I don't know that I've seen any singles with pickleball, but definitely for the doubles. But another thing with the doubles, you were talking about the channels that it was on, but I got the tennis channel so that I could watch more tennis. And now it's like whatever is going on. I mean, every tournament, it's a different network has it, so you got to subscribe to this and that and that and this. It's just way too much, So tennis channel needs to play, more doubles out there. If they can't compete for the singles matches, then put that doubles out there because we're interested in it.
Yeah, I know this is a doubles love fest, but there's a reason why. I hope that the numbers work. I hope that by expanding the coverage, that more people are going to watch doubles and they will put more doubles on. But Ruffin, Sandra, I hate to tell you this, but it's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah.
Doubles is kind of like the unwanted stepchild in the tennis realm.
Right.
I mean, it is, people come to see the stars. They see the major male stars and the major female stars of this game. And doubles is it is the easiest ticket to get in tennis. You can always get a ticket for doubles.
Sure.
You can come late. You'll get finals, you can get a ticket. I've never ever had a problem getting a ticket to a doubles, finals, semifinals, the few I've seen, but it was easy. And it's because people really the numbers are just not supporting it. Now, are they not good they're incredible athletes. Doubles is a difficult game. It's even more, in some respects, it's even more difficult than singles because two people have to think like one.
Right.
And I'm surprised that it doesn't get more viewership. But because more people play doubles than they do singles, especially
that's for sure.
But it still lacks the, I don't know, I guess it's French Open, so it lacks the savoir-faire. I threw that in there. But it lacks that something extra that, there's almost like a commonality to doubles. And I hate to say that because there's some great doubles players, but it's the perception of what doubles is. Doubles it's friendly. And then people go against mixed doubles. Oh, well, you got men and women playing, so how tough is it? And these, of course, that's spoken by people who don't play the game, don't know the game or understand, but I just feel like it's going to be a tough sell. Like I said, I hope the numbers are good.
Right.
All right. I hope they're up and that viewership, no sponsors are going to say, okay, let's put some more doubles on. Oh, no.
You don't know.
I just don't know. And so when it's going up against the top singles players, it always falls short. So tennis has done some things. They tried to inspire more top players to come in and play doubles, but what's the for top players? What was the selling point for Federer to play doubles?
Yeah,
what's the top? And the crazy part is he's a good doubles player.
Absolutely.
So was Rafa. Rafa was a very good doubles player. But what's in it for them to play doubles when they're making so much with the singles and people want to come to see them play singles? I mean, they'll come. He's a draw, but there's no incentive for him. Yeah. There's no real incentive for the top players to play doubles. The guys down on the bottom got to play because they need, they need the court, they need the practice time, the court time, but they also need the money.
They need the income.
They need the income. And so, like I said, I hope those numbers prove me wrong. I hope that they're up there and it makes, people want to have doubles more, but I don't think so. I really don't.
Well, they already want to have doubles more, James.
It's
just.
I don't know.
The singles players got all the sponsors.
All right, let me do this right now. Who is the number one doubles team in the world right now? Crickets. Exactly. Who's the number one
I can tell you,
female doubles team
now
in the
that
world?
is easy.
You might be able to do that.
Yeah,
That one-
that's easy.
But who's the number one male? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's
I don't.
true.
I mean,
I don't know, but I like to watch them play. How about that?
How about that?
I don't
That's
know
all
what
that
they
matters.
do.
But
If
if we saw them more, we would know them more. You know, we see
That's-
that one
and that's
or
a
two
point.
matches
That's
that
a
they
point.
put on.
But it's-
And, you know, what you're saying about, you know, the attendance at the matches and stuff. Well, some of those side courts that have the doubles on, you can't get into some of them. Look at when Townsend and King were playing mixed doubles.
Right.
Those courts were full, you know, but, you know, you just can't drop them out there and then just drop them off.
Okay.
You know, you got to keep going with them if you want to get more people out there watching them.
all right. Well,
That's a good point.
maybe, and if Coco playing doubles was a good thing. She had played doubles in the last.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that's the key. It is getting the top players, getting the 1 and 2, 3 players, 4 players in the world to play doubles. Then you might have a shot. Because
Sure.
people just come to see them play because they'll think, well, I can't get a ticket to see them at Center Court Ash playing singles, but I can see them on Armstrong playing doubles, and you got to have something that brings people to see the matches. I'm watching too many doubles matches and seats are empty.
True.
For finals.
Well, yeah, for the finals,
And you
I have to agree with you
And
there.
the seats are empty. I'm like, and good tennis, but I don't know.
Well, maybe it is that they didn't want to pay the money that it costs to
Yeah.
watch those doubles.
It should be
in the
about-
finals.
Yeah.
But you know, when you buy a ticket early on, you can get to all those courts. You know, so I know that's where I'm at. You know, I'm at the
Well,
doubles
see,
courts.
yeah,
watching doubles.
the doubles people will watch it.
Sure.
You look on doubles, okay, who's playing?
Right.
All right, I'm
If
going
you
over here.
can't pronounce his name. It's
Yeah,
kind of
no,
hard.
I watch any of them that are
But,
playing,
but
playing
it's
doubles.
yeah, but it's all about putting butts in the seats.
Sure.
And sponsors want to see butts in the seats. And if you got a big corporation, you spend a lot of money to put your name on that stadium and have those, and you look and you see like, a third of the people in this, you're like, why y'all putting that TV camera on there? You better put it over on this match where they can see my logo,
Right,
see
see your
my logo on
logo.
label. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Well, what do you think, Ruffin? Which
So-
side do you want in this
Well, I mean,
argument about singles and doubles? Or doubles and singles, I should say.
I see both of your points. Obviously, as playing players, when we play more doubles than singles, especially as we age. But as a fan, we watch more singles. We want to see those marquee players. So I agree with both sides. As a doubles expert on my own, I think the sport of doubles is much more difficult than being able to just chase down a ball and hit a singles ball. So yeah, I can appreciate the doubles more. But again, at the end of the day, sponsorship is going to pay for all of these seats when they're not filled. And if no one's in those seats, then no one's going to be paying for it. So, I'll be pretty neutral for both because I like both. But again, when Coco was playing singles and doubles, the draws were bigger.
Yeah.
Not since on the men's side have you had anyone consistent with a marquee player like the Bryan brothers, because those were known players, and they were not only were they good and entertaining, they were consistent, and that's the thing with the marketing of doubles. It's got to be consistent. If you can't find a consistent player, you look at the centers, the Alcarazes, even those old guys, the ones that have dominated for the last 2 decades, Novak, Roger, Rafa, they were consistent. Well, until we get a consistent doubles team, even on the women's side, Sinyakova, and Taylor Townsend, they're starting to be that doubles team. 2 years ago, it was actually Coco and Jessica Pegula on the women's side. On the men's side, it's been up and down. King, you mentioned, I can't think of his first name. King and his partner are trying to be Harrison. Yep. Are trying to actually be that on the men's side now, since the Bryan brothers have retired. But at the end of the day, it's still got to be singles, because they're the ones that are filling the stadium.
Yeah.
That's when you see that Hollywood socialite at the court who probably never knows what a tennis court looks like until it's U.S. Open time, French Open time.
Yeah.
That it's only at a singles match versus a doubles match.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm challenging all the recreational players out there because there's twice as many playing doubles in USTA than it is singles. I have that stat. And I'm challenging y'all to get out and show out. Be at the next doubles matches at the U.S. Open. And let's fill the stadium out there and show people what we're really interested in. Because I know it's doubles, because these two guys sitting here with me, they not playing any singles. They playing doubles too. So let's get out there and show them off. And for the record, I'm not playing any singles either. So let's get out there and show the doubles.
Sandra done dropped that mic, folks.
Mic drop. Well, with that mic drop, let's talk about the upcoming slam since we're in that grass court season. So let's talk about Wimbledon, guys. So again, which side do you want to talk about? Do you have any favorites, Andrew?
Of course, I'm favoring golf and center for Wimbledon also, but I think Tiafoe and Shelton, they're going to make good runs there. Love to see them in a final. I really like Andreeva. I really like her.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I really like her.
She could do some damage. She hadn't really done the kind of damage that we thought she'd do thus far, but yeah, she could do some damage at Wimbledon. I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Because on the women's side, in my view, on the women's side, it's kind of wide open. The last couple of champions have come out of nowhere. Rybakina, Vondrousova, who's the defending champion? What's her name? Barbara Krejcikova. They came out of nowhere.
Well, they had a hot streak.
They had a hot streak.
It happens
streak
on grass. That can happen on grass.
But on the men's side, it's pretty cut and dry too. There are only a few favorites. James, who's some of your favorites?
You pick one of my dark horses, Ben Shelton. Favorable. If he gets a favorable draw, I guess you could say that all of them.
Right.
But with his power off his game, to serve, and his aggressive style, grass favors that kind of player. He's going to have to come in more than he's been in the past. But still, I feel like his style could be effective. That pace, he could be effective, and he's very aggressive.
Yeah.
And grass favors an aggressive player. So he was also one of my dark horses. And also another one that I think, of course, Jack Draper. Jack Draper. If Draper gets on the roll, he's going to have everybody in England is going to be cheering him on. They're going to be out there. It's going to be like a soccer match, up in there. And and he is starting to. He's getting there. I mean, he's. I look for him to make a move. And once again, things open up. He could be in that Grand Slam final. So those are a couple of my dogs. Of course, Hubie Hurkacz from Poland.
Okay.
He's another one. His issue is he's got that bad knee. He had that last year. He had that, I think it was a meniscus or something.
He had surgery on it.
He had surgery on it. So he has the game that serve. Oh my gosh! I mean, he could do damage. However, can his body hold up? And I see him, and I always look like he's kind of long and gangly looking, but he's a big guy. And so he could also do some damage for Ness on the ATP. Now, and also you had another one of my dark horses is Mira Andreeva. I think we got to remember, she's still a teenager and she's learning. And that was that French Open debacle. She kind of brought some of that on herself, but also. Everybody was talking about how, she's allowed you to get her upset, this and that. And I understand it, but I keep saying she's like 17 years old, right? She's a kid. She's a child. And, but of course we put her in, I guess they said, we put you in the big girl shoes, then you got to step like a big girl.
Gotta wear big girl pants.
Yeah. And so she got in a situation there that I can't even imagine what that's like to be in a stadium thousands of people all cheering against you.
Right.
And, you know, all you're trying to do is win your match and play your points, and it gets, bro, you could just see it just get bigger and bigger. And then, you know, is it Basson? What? Basson?
Yeah.
She's playing out of her head. The crowd is behind her. And so I think that for her, she has a skill set and tennis acumen way beyond her years. And I feel like for her, it's a learning experience. For her, she's going to put that in her belt, and she's going to use that to help her. So she's going to drive. So she's got the big game too.
Yeah.
I can see her going deep in this draw. And so she was also a dark horse of mine. And, you know, then you also got others like Svitolina, who is, you know, who's playing extremely well. I mean, she hasn't got the big titles, but she could be dangerous out there too. But of course, the one, you know, I'm pulling Foucault to win this thing, and I'm pulling Foucault.
The double. Yeah, pull it off.
Ain't no shame. I'm pulling for it. Go Coco.
Go Coco.
Do your thing, girl. Get that one with the title.
I hear you.
Yeah. Oh, and Tiafoe, let me tell you, when you said Tiafoe, and I didn't have him on my list, but Tiafoe has put together some good tennis lately, and I'm just hoping that, you know, that he gets a deep run. Tommy Paul's always dangerous too. When we talked about Americans, man, I want to see an American man hold up something.
Yeah.
Hold up something.
It's been a while.
I'm telling you.
Since Roddick.
Yeah, that's.
There were like 22 Americans that made it past the second round at the French Open. They said that was more than it been in 30, 40 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, 40 years.
Yeah.
We're making strides.
Yeah.
But grass is a different animal.
Yeah, it's a different animal, but, you know, man, I'm just hoping that one. Taylor Fritz just won. He just won he won a grass court tournament. Was it in Germany, I think? And so looking good into it too. He's, you know, he got the game.
Yeah.
He got the game. So and he's. I think is he still the number one, or did Tommy Paul take his number one?
So
Americans
for the first time in a long time, we have 3 Americans in the top 10 to go with it. Taylor Fritz is number 4. Tommy
so
Paul
he's still
is
the highest
6.
American, right?
And now Ben Shelton
made
is
it.
8.
Yeah.
So 3 in the first time on the American side. On the men's side in a while. But I don't consider any one of the Americans, including Shelton, to be favorites on the grass at Wimbledon. I think it's on the men's side. It's down to Carlos, Yannick, Novak. I'll go with Jack Draper. But my dark horse really is someone who just won, Canadian, 6'8".
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel Diallo.
Yeah.
That dude.
The blonde.
He's sporting the blonde dude right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just won in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, he moves very well for someone who's 6'8". He's got a big serve, got a big forehand. He's great on grass, you know, because he's quick strike. He has good hands. He's got good feel. I mean, you would never, you know, he took out big players. He took out, in Madrid, he took out Dimitrov. Again, just won his first ATP tournament on grass. He's someone you might want to look for.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the rest of the field, both on the men's and women's side, it's no clear favorite. Like when Roger was playing Wimbledon, you knew you put him at the top of the list. Now, even though Carlos has won the last 2, it's still not quite there yet because he's not.
But he's got a Wimbledon title.
He's got a Wimbledon title.
He can win this tournament. I mean,
it was his first title.
Yeah.
He can win it. But I think it's just wide open, especially on the women's side. Mm-hmm. There are no clear favorites. You know, of course, you've got your Sabalenkas and the Cocos, 1 and 2 in the world. Swiatek, she's not good on grass. But you still have other clear favorites. We're talking about Robert Keane. You've got Keys, who's won tournaments on grass. You've got Vondrousova. You've got the returning defending champion, Krejcikova. Even, like I said, even Vondrousova, even she just came back from pregnancy. What's her name? The lefty German, Kvitova. Again, these are some dark horses, but there's no
And
clear cut
Maria,
there.
the Spaniard, what's her name, Maria, who just had a big win yesterday on grass. Tatiana.
You're right. I know what you're talking about. As well as Jasmine, because she's
7 years old.
Jasmine Paolini.
Oh,
I was just going to say,
lady.
Got to
Wimbledon
final last year. So, she's still but there's still no clear cut favorites. And that's what we're looking for women. Maybe for a later podcast, I'd like to talk about betting. Because the odds betting always seems to know who the favorites are, and they are more than likely right most of the time. So again, there's not a large difference between the number one ranked player who's going to have a Sabalenka or an Alcaraz who are going to be favored to win the tournament versus anyone else. And I think the draw on both sides is going to be wide open. So.
Well, the betting wasn't right for the women's French Open.
No, it wasn't.
Just to say.
Yeah, I know.
People lost money.
But she did make the semis. Yeah. She just lost to an inferior player.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She's superior player that day.
Yeah, another one player, just on dark horse, but she's not a dark horse, she's not. But I would just like to see what she does on grass. That's another little teen sensation, Victoria Mboko from Canada.
Yeah.
Big hitter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she hits the ball hard and harder.
Right.
and she also has that kind of no fear. She goes out there and plays and just plays her game, which I liked about Andreeva. Plays like I always say she plays like she's playing a high school match, and I'm not saying that she's at a high school level. I'm just saying that she's relaxed and calm, even though she's on the biggest stages of the game. And at 17 years old, if you can go out there and make your strokes, well, at Boko, once she gets that power and she can be something.
Right.
I think there's a lot of potential in her. So I think people need to, kind of keep an eye on her, see how she develops.
Yeah, let's see what her results look like on grass.
Yeah.
Right. So that pretty much kind of sums it up for this summer, at least for the grass court season since it's short. Sandra, you got anything else?
I just wanted to ask y'all how y'all felt about the electronic line card coming to Wimbledon.
Well, it should be much better than what it was supposed to have been at this year's French Open. They were supposed to bring the electronic line calling out and there were a couple of calls.
But
They've shown you that, even though the ball leaves a mark on clay, the ball can be misleading because it makes an indent like a crater.
Right.
So I think they need to go ahead and institute it, especially on grass, so we don't have any more flare-ups like chalk flew up, John McEnroe. So we don't have any mislines.
Yeah, that's just
use the technology.
Use the technology.
Yeah.
It's there. I mean, if you can do that on your iPhone or your Samsung phone, why not with the technology that they have for tennis? So.
Yeah, I agree. I think after this year, the French Tennis Federation needs to say, you know what, let's just go with the technology. This whole thing, and even Center got rooked on a call that was ball was clearly out, and they go back and show it. And so I think it's time. The days of seeing those guys bent over and ladies bent over watching it, those days are over now. We've moved on, and I hate to say that. I hope it's not somebody's job, and because it is somebody's job.
It is.
And but the accuracy of the game now is in threat, and you want to make sure that the person who won the point, right, and didn't get it because somebody makes a bad call in the judgment, line because they didn't see it. The ball is going so fast.
Yeah.
I first of all, I'm not denigrating any line umpire, line chair umpire or linesman. That is probably the hardest job in the world because the pace of the game today, and those balls, I don't know how they do it anyway. I couldn't do it at all.
But I will say, if they're not going to use the technology, then they need to stop showing it.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point. I hate that. I hate that. Say, okay. Yeah. So, I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's going to be different though, especially when it comes to Wimbledon. I mean, that was part of the pageantry, seeing those linesmen.
Yeah.
140 plus years, they said.
Yeah. Wow.
Tradition.
Remember, I'm going to go way back. Remember the Fortescues Remember Bud Collins the guys who used to sit, there used to be a person
Oh, yeah, on
sit
the
at the net,
At the net.
and he would hold his fingers on the net
Right.
and sit there after the serve to make sure something, it didn't hit, it was a let. And Bud Collins used to call this guy Fingers Fortescue, the late Bud Collins. But that was a job.
That was a job.
Just sat there and held your fingers on the net.
Yeah.
And now, it's amazing.
Yeah, no
and now,
longer.
they did the technology and put it on the thing for calling lets. Might as well do it for the lines now.
I agree.
Well, James, you got any more parting words?
Nah, I'm telling you, let's move on to Wimbledon. And
Let's look forward to
it.
Wimbledon. And I've always made this observation about tennis in America. When Wimbledon comes around, people tend to find the court. So let's do that. Let's go out and find a tennis court. So with that said, as we always say, we're gonna put our hands together.
Boom.
Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, let's go play some tennis.
I'm ready to play right now.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
You want to play singles or doubles?
There you go.
Well, we can play Canadian now.
And watch us limp. All right.